It's a big old beautiful world out there. Sometimes you just gotta let it take you where the roller coaster ride meets the tilt-a-whirl. It's a big old beautiful world. La da 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 da. It's a big old beautiful world. There's a star in the sky for every grain of sand, and I've stared up at night trying to understand how it all fits in the palm of God's hand. It's a big old beautiful world. It's a big old beautiful world out there. Sometimes you just gotta let it take you where the roller coaster ride meets the tilt-a-whirl. It's a big old beautiful world. La da 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 da. It's a big old beautiful.
Was any steeper than a more friendly 7% grade. In just a minute, after we round the corners up ahead, a long view of the mountains ahead will open up. Those mountains are part of the Mummy Range, and we'll see 3 different mountain peaks. Starting from the left, the peaks are named Chapin, Chiquita, and the one to the right often has snow on it. It's in the shape of a Y, so it's called Ypsilon, named for the Greek letter Y. You can see their glacially carved faces and gullies. I'll point them out again later when we can see them from the west side, where our view of them is drastically different. If we drive all the way to Grand Lake, and that's something that I do recommend that we do, the western portion of the road which descends the Kawanichi Valley wasn't completed for another 6 years. But then both sides of the park were connected, and visitors could enjoy a loop driving tour from Denver through Rocky Mountain National Park and then back to Denver without having to backtrack on the same route.
So I bought a self-guided touring app, and that's what you're hearing playing in this video. We're traveling through the Rocky Mountain State Park. We started north of Estes Park at Fall River or something like that center off of Route 34. North of Estes Park, Colorado.
Coming up on our right is a small pullout that will fit about 10 cars. From here, there's a short boardwalk that visits an area of ponds that were created by beavers, damming the stream. Beavers are actually quite rare in the park now, so we're unlikely to see one, but we will see the result of their work. These industrious little guys' ability to change the landscape is second only to humans. Now, this is not a must-do stop, but if we have lots of time, we might like to spend, say, 15 minutes here or so. Keep in mind that it was fur trappers hunting beaver that were most likely the very first white people to see these parts of the country.
Yeah, we're not going to walk that. But that was it to the right.
On this next sharp left bend coming up, we'll see the turnoff to the Hidden Valley picnic area. It's quite an attractive area, but we have much more expansive views ahead of us, so it's okay if you want to keep going. If you are curious, turn in and I'll tell you why this area is actually even more popular in winter than in summer. I wanted to give a special mention about what to do if we see cyclists on this road. Many riders enjoy the special challenge of cycling this road. There's a satisfying gain in elevation to overcome, and since much of the route is 11,000 feet of elevation and higher, it's an extra effort to also deal with the lesser availability of oxygen. So if we come up behind a cyclist, please be patient. I can assure you that they are working their little heinies off. Wait until you see a long open space and then gently pull wide and go past them. It's better if you don't slam down on the accelerator and give them a big cloud of exhaust fumes too. And speaking of elevation, it's probably time I encouraged us to keep drinking water. You feel a little bit of a headache coming on? Those can be common occurrence at high altitude, and keeping hydrated can help with that. When we live at high altitude, our bodies compensate by producing more red blood cells. The more red cells we have, the more oxygen we're able to deliver around the body. More blood cells can mean thicker blood. So that's another reason to keep ourselves well hydrated. We've all heard of athletes training at high altitude. The physiology behind that is that while training in a high altitude, low oxygen environment, the athlete produces more red blood cells to carry oxygen. If you then go to sea level after training at high altitude, your body still has those extra red blood cells flowing through your arteries. So it's like getting a boost of oxygen delivery to improve your performance. On both sides of this dramatic valley. In different places around the park, I talk about how there was a local push by prominent citizens around Estes Park to have a road built this way. But the National Park Service was a federal agency operated out of Washington, D.C., which was created in 1916, with not too much budget or resources. There's a famous story about the very first director, Stephen Mather. He was wealthy and he loved touring around the West. He didn't like what he was seeing in the national parks. They weren't being protected, so he wrote to a college alumni who happened to be the Secretary of the Interior, complaining about the poor state of the parks. Well, he quickly received a letter back saying, "Dear Stephen, if you don't like how the parks are being run, why don't you come down to Washington and run them yourself?" So he did. Stephen Mather and later Horace Albright both recognized that the automobile was going to be the way that many people experienced the parks. They didn't like the way highway departments wanted to build roads in beautiful mountain places. They fought hard to make sure that roads did not leave ugly scars on places they were trying to conserve. They sometimes built much more expensive roads to maintain the aesthetic. They also established some criteria that are consistent throughout the national parks. One of those are the retaining walls. The walls are hand-built by stonemasons using rock disrupted by the road building that tend to blend better with the environment. It meant that less debris would be dumped down the side of the mountains, too. So it looks better, and it's less harmful to the natural landscape. A little bit more, but soon we'll reach our highest point on the drive of 12,183 feet. You would think this monumental point in the road would at least get a sign, but there's nothing marking this point, other than me just telling you. From that point on, it's all downhill. The road here does seem a little narrow, and it's kind of like hanging on the edge. But don't worry, it's well constructed. Our next overlook is called the Gore Range Overlook. There's a parking lot on our left, and I suggest we pull in so we can soak up all that we can see. First off, we'll see the last of Forest Canyon, the long canyon that we've been paralleling on our drive across the tundra. Then on a clear day, we can see all the way to the Gore Range. On the other side of this range is Vail Resort, more than 60 miles away. We'll also see the Never Summer Range. Basically, this one overlook shows off many of Colorado's mountain ranges. It's a pretty nice stop to take in the view.
We're not going to stop.
Here is the Alpine Visitor Center coming up just ahead. Let's turn in. The Visitor Center is not like any other. At close to 12,000 feet above sea level, it's the highest visitor center in the entire national park system. You'll notice the logs on the roof. They're there to provide extra strength so that snow piled on the roof in the winter won't collapse it. The windows have to be covered so they don't get smashed by snow drifts. This is a stop that basically everyone driving this road is going to make. So be patient if finding a parking space takes a little bit of time. The Trail Ridge store next to the visitor center has souvenirs and some food from a cafe. Once we find a parking space and catch our breath, there's a paved trail and staircase that heads out onto the tundra. We should go up and have a look around if the weather allows it. It's called Huffer Hill, and you'll quickly understand why. After we've completed our visit here, we should decide if you want to start heading back towards Estes Park, or if we want to continue this way towards the Kawanichi Valley and Grand Lake. Enjoy yourselves.
That sure looks like quite the line for to get in there. I think we'll wait